Whoops. Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast, y'all, with myself and the star of the show, my man, Coach Santa over there with his Hilldale hat on. Y'all didn't know that was a Hilldale hat. If y'all don't know who Hilldale is, gotta look it up. Gotta look it up. One of the greats, Judy Johnson, played for Hilldale.
and the greatest catcher in the history of baseball.
Justin Watson.
No.
Who?
Biz Mackey.
Biz Mackey. I didn't know he played for
Biz Mackey played for the Hilldale Daisies Athletic Club, whatever you want to call them, and then the Philadelphia Stars, and he was on both championship teams for both teams, and personally trained the late great Roy Campanella.
There you go. I wonder how much you got paid to train him.
Let's see. This was in the 30s and the 40s, so probably $12.75.
Much? You think that much?
Mm-hmm.
I may not even. Are you talking about like in total?
Yeah.
In total, yeah, probably. Well, this is the Check Swing Podcast, y'all. We got a lot to talk about, but first, before we get into all that, I gotta ask Miguel. Even though I've been talking to him already, gotta ask Miguel, how you been, man? How have you been? It's been a week.
It has been a week, my friends. Yeah. Why did you not warn me?
About what?
About how people drive in the state of Maryland.
Well, my best answer would be probably because I haven't really driven in the state of Maryland regularly for about 20 years. So I forgot.
Inexcusable. Anyway,
you win.
So praise Jesus moment, praise God moment. So my wife got into a little vehicular accidente close to the house. This tall, lanky, dorky kid that couldn't keep his mouth shut. He had that stupid millennial look, like, and he kept like rolling his eyes like his, I don't know, I think it was the long hair and his long neck. He looked he looked like his face looked uncircumcised. But he kept long story short, he was in the right lane. My wife was in the left lane, and she saw him, weaving in and out of traffic. You know how you kind of see like that guy, right?
Uh-huh.
So at the last minute, he tried to make a U-turn from the far right lane to the left lane. So my wife wound up like kind of crashing into him and, smashing him into a pole. Thankful to some good Samaritan. Yeah, into a street light.
She smashed him into the light, or she smashed into the light?
Well, he cut her off, causing that collision. Right. And then the car wound up going up against the pole.
Her car or his car?
His car.
Okay, gotcha.
Because he cut her off and he just wound up, because he was trying to make a U-turn at unrealistic speeds. But thank God for the bystanders that were there. There was an off-duty
off-duty Samaritan.
Yeah, the fire department.
Okay.
Medic, an off-duty medic. So she was checking on my wife, and little shock. Her back was a little, dinged up. She's had a history of back issues. So we got her checked out. Everything for the most part is okay. They said she'd be sore, which she is. But I'm just thankful that it wasn't her time, and I'm thankful for the Good Samaritan that saw the whole thing. She reminded me of that lady from In Living Color. Don't nobody talk about Miss Jenkins. But she a little heifer though. but she was sweet because she said, "Listen, I saw the whole thing. Whatever you need, let me know." And there was a lawyer already on scene even before the police got there, and he looked like who did I say that he looked like?
You,
Oh, he looked like Rev Run. He had a leather jacket.
oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, the
Uh,
lawyer. Yeah.
the lawyer, he had a leather jacket. He had a black fedora. I think he was driving like a Chrysler 300 or something. Um, but he said, everything's gonna be good. He already took witness statements and everything like that. So, but everything, thankfully, came out all right. But I wanted to hit that kid.
Well, I'm glad you didn't hit the kid, and I'm glad your wife is all right and she's recovering, and sounds like she should make a full recovery, and I hope it's speedy. Um, but wow, how about that?
Yeah,
I mean, it's not funny, but it's just like sheesh. I feel like
yeah,
last week you had something to give us too, and it's been a heck of a couple of weeks for you.
yeah. It's been a test, but um, what do they say? As long as we know whose we are, then we know how we're gonna be. You know what I mean? And then
Absolutely.
24 hours later, we were celebrating our my daughter-in-law's baby shower. One of the worst I've ever attended, but um, neither here nor there. But
You said one of the, wait a minute. Can I repeat that? Is it okay to repeat that?
yeah, sure,
Did you say it was one of the worst
yes,
baby showers you ever attended?
yes,
So, first of all, let me just say I don't think I've ever been to a baby shower.
yeah.
To my knowledge, I don't think I might have, but I don't think I have, right?
Mhm.
Um, but what makes a bad baby shower? And we're gonna be talking about a lot. We got Phillies, Sixers, Eagles. We got the draft. We got a big dummy. We got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about, y'all. But Miguel just put this on my plate real quick, and I need to know what makes a baby shower bad.
What makes a baby shower bad? When humans talk. Um, when it's supposed to be a barbecue and it rains.
Oh,
Um, when there's a
uh,
lot of indecision. You know what I mean? But
okay.
you know, I will say I'm grateful for family that stepped up.
Yes.
Um,
Okay.
who they helped cook. They helped clean. They emceed a bingo giveaway. So it all, a lot was learned, I will say, from the
Okay.
meeting of the Phillies. So I will say that without, completely embarrassing everybody that I want to embarrass publicly.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I want to give a quick shout out to my man, B Wash. He's checking us out right now. Trainer extraordinaire. Check him out. He's checking us out on the New Twist Radio Instagram live feed right now that I'm running right now. It's a live feed. So anybody that's on the live feed, let me see. Can I turn this around so y'all can see that I'm not just talking to myself? I'm talking to Miguel right there. Okay, you can't see him. There he is. There's Miguel right there. He's on the other side of the camera. Um, but of course, y'all can hit us up at 669-275-0548. That's 669-275-0548. If anything that we're saying intrigues you or triggers you. But we do want to ask a couple of questions. This past weekend was the NFL draft. So how did your team do? Hit us up, let us know, 669-275-0548, or you can hit us up in the comments, of course, if you don't want to call. But we'd love to hear from you. Also, one of the things we're going to be talking about today is the Phillies start, how they've started. Okay, and my question to you, hit me up and let me know. Does it matter to you yet? Like, does it matter? Because we all know that first week of the season, Philly can lose a game, and everybody, oh, they need to blow the team up. Like, I feel like Phillies fans react to the first week of the season like it's do or die. And I don't know if it's because the football thing. Football is very compact, even though it's drawn out. It's very like every game means something. Um, Speaking of which, they might be changing the football schedule around. Stay tuned. We're going to be talking about that too. Um, But like a couple weeks into the Philly season, into the baseball season, Phillies fans tend to mellow out and calm down. But very early in the season, like a couple years ago, I think we swept. I think the Phillies swept the Braves
Atlanta.
years ago,
Hmm.
and everybody's like, "We're winning the World Series. That's it. We're the best. We're the champ. We're going." And they did go. They did go. We talked about that last week. Um, but anyway, we got that to talk about. And then we got to we got to talk about the Sixers. We got to talk about the Sixers. That's
It's the beginning of the end.
you sound very happy about that. See,
I will reserve comment for when the segment appears. I submit my time.
yeah, see the I'm still trying to figure you out when it comes to this. I'm trying to figure you out, man. But we'll get to that when the thing happens. When the segment happens, excuse me, the thing. Um, and of course, like I said, the draft. We're gonna be talking about AJ Brown and the Eagles. Um, but one other question I want to put out there for you: are the Sixers done in this playoffs? Are they done? They're down 3 games to 1, going back to New York. Two-part question: is it time to blow it up? Why or why not? I know what Miguel's gonna say. Wait till you hear what I have to say. It might surprise you. But let's talk about the Phillies real quick. All right. Because I'll be honest with you. I am pleased with this start by the Phillies. Okay. But I'm not I'm not necessarily there yet. I'm not saying the Phillies aren't a good enough team to go to the World Series or win the World Series. But I'm still not there yet to even say that they're better than the Braves.
See, you're hard to figure out when it comes to that stuff.
Because well, do you want me to
Mo-
continue? You want me to,
most most wins in the month of April in franchise history.
that's great. That's great. Playoffs begin in October.
Which is true. Touche.
The weather is going from cold to warm now.
Warm to
Playoffs don't
hot.
start until the weather is going from warm to cold.
Right.
We got a ways. I mean, that's great. That greatest best April in franchise history, right? Or
Yeah.
best start in franchise. Well, same thing. Um.
You can post the thing. I put it in.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was engulfed in my own opinions here. um. That's great. That is. I mean, so here's where I will be more excited about this start. Are you ready?
Sure.
You ready out there on the live? I would be more excited about this start if there were an in-season tournament like there were in basketball, and it actually means something to win games early.
So explain to me the in-season tournament. So if you win the tournament, are you automatically in the playoffs?
No,
So what's the point of the in-season tournament?
the in-season tournament is basically something that NBA decided to put in there to make make games a little more important in the beginning of the season.
But if
That's
it doesn't,
really all it is.
but if it doesn't mean anything towards the playoffs, then it's not
Because
important.
at the same time, you still have to play the rest of the season. That in-season tournament, what is it done in? It's done before Christmas, I believe. And I, for one, have been one. I'm on record as saying the NBA season doesn't really even really start until after Christmas. So, but here. Let me try to. Let me first say I wasn't a big fan of the in-season tournament when I first heard about it, but as it played out, I kind of liked it better. Um, with the in-season tournament, I think they could make a tweak with it to make it more meaningful. If and I've said it on this show, y'all can go back and check out some of our old shows and find where I said it. It would be more meaningful if the winner of the in season tournament got a lottery draft pick. Right now, I don't think they get anything but money. Right? If they were to get a lottery draft pick, and I don't mean they're in the running for the number one pick. I don't mean that. I mean there are a certain amount of lottery picks for the teams that don't make the playoffs. Add one more pick, and they get that pick. So now instead of 30, 30 picks in the first round is 31 or whatever whatever the case, whatever that number is.
You know what? That spawned an idea in my head. In the 50s and the 60s, when the NFL, this was pre Super Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
The NFL would have kind of the normal playoff format right now, but I don't. They minus they didn't have a wild card round, so it was like 2 rounds, and then the championship game, and the basically the team with the higher seed was the host. But what people don't know is that they also had a second place tournament. So basically, like a runner up, all the runner they you're basically playing for like second place.
Okay.
And that kind of ended before, I think, a couple years before the first Super Bowl. So why not at the end of the season, when everybody has pretty much, you have your top 30 teams 1 through 30, instead of having like a lottery pick, why not have the top 10 teams actually play for the first pick? Like the worst teams
The worst
duke
team
it out,
in the tournament.
right? Like the draft tournament.
So I like the idea. I think it's going to need some tweaking, right?
Yeah, because
Because
that's be some bad basketball.
it's going to be bad basketball, right? But if things fall the way they are supposed to fall, the best of the worst team is going to get the number one pick in the NBA draft,
True.
which kind of turns around what the whole draft was intended for in the way that it is now the modern draft. It's supposed to help the worst teams get a little better, but now you're getting teams that are just out of the playoffs, the best player in the draft. I mean, it could be interesting. I'm not totally against it. It could be interesting. The rich can get richer. That well,
Or
the middle class can get rich. Something like
or maybe just have the two worst teams,
the two worst teams play,
the two worst teams, or the four worst teams play.
like a Final Four.
Bam!
So
A final four for suckiness.
that would be the most embarrassing tournament. Um, and we are going to talk about baseball. We do have baseball on the screen,
Sorry.
but I do want to put this out there. There was at one time in the NCAA tournament. There was at one time a second place game.
Hmm.
So they changed a lot of things. I wonder if they could do that now and still make money off the second place game. Would you watch the second place? I would watch the second place game if it were my team playing in it. I would watch
But
the second place.
isn't that sort of like the NIT? Isn't that not?
No, I mean the NIT is for the teams for the best teams that didn't make the tournament.
Right. So you're technically already doing that.
There was a time when the NIT was a very interesting tournament.
Hmm.
Very interesting tournament. The preseason NIT used to be the tournament because you would get, I remember Marbury playing in it. I remember Iverson playing it. I remember like Marcus Camby playing, Ray Allen. Like I can remember a lot of guys playing in that preseason NIT. But we digressed quite a bit. We're talking about the Phillies and they're the best start in franchise history for the Phillies. They won 19 games. So what are they? 19-6, Miguel?
I'll pull it up.
I should have pulled it up. That's my fault. I should have pulled that up. But like I said, I typed in 19. It's early. It's April. There's no in-season tournament for baseball.
They're 19-10.
See, even worse. Even worse. They're a double-digit loss team. What's the Braves?
Oh Lord, 19-7. So they're 1.5 back, but they've played 3 more games than the Braves.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Right. Um. So no, that wouldn't make sense. But I was gonna say, so in a sense, they're kind of better than the Braves, but no, they were both won 19 games. They just played 3 less games. That's all.
Well, I'll tell you where they are better than the Braves. I mean, right now we have possibly the best starting rotation in baseball right now. I mean, who
They,
would have thought? Who would have thought that Aaron Nola has the highest ERA on the team and it's only 3.16? Well, I thought, well, yeah,
and I
especially as
know
many.
you would know that.
You know what?
However, however, I am surprised that it's as high as it is, being that everybody else's is so low.
Yeah.
Like he's the guy that just got the money.
Hmm.
Right? He just got the contract, and he's got the worst ERA on the team. And let's be honest, the ERA really ain't that bad. It's not a bad ERA. So where's my man Taiwan Walker?
Well, remember he's still recovering from his injury. He just had to start
Yesterday, I think he started.
yesterday. Yeah, so I mean, it was a quality start. 3 runs in what 5 or 6 innings. So he's
That
working
was
his way back.
of
Huh?
the season. Was that his first appearance of the season?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he made like I think 3 or 4 rehab starts in AAA before he came up. So the
Right.
velocity was pretty good. I think he missed like 2 or 3 pitches that cost him a couple runs, but um Johan Rojas made a great play in center field after misplaying a play in the first inning. But you know, sky's the limit. But I think the guy with the red beard, his name is Spencer Turnbull.
He,
He's coming. He's been the truth. I think he had what a no hitter through 8 a couple weeks ago.
something like that.
Um,
I didn't
I'm
even know. Did we pick him up right before the season started, or right as the season started?
Yes, because I think he played for the Tigers, and he was coming back from either Tommy John or some type of or shoulder or arm injury. And you
Okay.
know how Philadelphia loves to get one of those diamonds in the rough. We love ACLs and rotator cuff tears. So
Well,
he
if
was
you're gonna
coming.
get somebody that was on Tommy that had Tommy John, it's better. I think it's better to get them early, right? Because that's when they're
Yeah,
throwing
yeah,
usually.
it is. But I think like the reason why I like this team above a lot of the teams, it's like you see the approach at the plate. They're waiting for the pitch for like that one pitch.
Mhm.
Like Alec Bohm is on fire. I'm so glad that not only offensively but defensively he's actually been vastly improved. So he's kind of showing he's a line drive hitter. I think the one game he hit a home run to left center field and to right field. So he's a dead fastball hitter. Usually, is aggressive in the beginning of the count. And he's hitting it where he wants to, how hard he wants to. And I'm seeing really the only 2 people that are kind of slumpy right now are Castellanos and Rojas. They're just, it
Rojas
all
was expected.
right. They're just garbage. However, to the baseball pundit, when you look at I think Castellanos actually walked like 3 times yesterday, but they were really good at bats. You
He also
know,
hit a home run 2 days ago. I think it was
yeah,
Saturday. Hit a home run on
yeah, which
Saturday.
I think was like his first home run in like a month or something. But I'm hoping that he gets to the form that he was before he
Before the NLCS last year.
right. So you know me, I'm like kind of in trade mode. Like, who would you trade to get such and such, such and such?
Who you
And
trying to?
I mean, I'm trying to. I'm still trying to figure out how to trade Schwarber. Although I mean, he's batting above 200, which is a good sign. Um, I
I wish
still
he
don't know.
wasn't batting above the 2 spot in the order.
Say again.
I wish he wasn't batting above the number 2 spot in the lineup.
Right. I mean, but right now the pundits can say, well, they're winning. So it's like, do you change things up when they're winning?
No,
Right.
no.
But I'm hoping that there is a change if things do go south. I think that's what kind of killed us in the playoffs last year, that we made no adjustments. Why Kimbrel was the closer, who I think has already blown 3 saves for the Orioles or already, and I think he hurt himself in yesterday's. He blew a save yesterday against the A's and is hurt. Um, Baltimore fans, you're welcome. And
Should have
I
listened.
just, I yeah. Um, but this right here, the starting rotation is what's keeping us in. I think even Wheeler started off like 0-2 because he lost the game like 1-0 and like 2-1. So
Yeah, he lost opening day, right?
yeah, I think it was opening
I
day.
don't think he got the loss.
Right, that was a no decision, but I know he just recently got his first win because he just didn't have enough run support.
Just got his first win, and his ERA is under 2. That's
Yeah,
unreal. And one thing I'm going to mention, you were talking about how, in the playoffs, how we just didn't make adjustments. Um, that was kind of the season for the Phillies because, excuse me, the last 2 seasons, they were hot. They were a streaky team. They were hot for a bit, then they were cold for a bit, then they were hot for a bit, cold for a bit, and it hit us last year. Hit the Phillies last year right there in the playoffs. They was hot all the way through the playoffs to the NLCS and got cold and couldn't do a thing. Had
could not.
game 7 in their house. Guess what? They had game 7, right? It went 7 games, right?
Game
Guess
6
what?
and 7,
Guess what?
we lost.
The Sixers that year also had game 7. Didn't show up. Yo, last year was just a bad year for Philly. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. We lost. We went. It started off by losing the Galaxy Cup. Oh, no, what's it called? The MLS Cup.
really?
Lost the MLS Cup to I want to say LA Galaxy. This was before Messi came. We lost it was like it was a shootout too. It was like at the very end, it was like a shootout to decide the game. So we lost the Galaxy or the MLS Cup, lost the Super Bowl, lost the World Series. Sixers did what they did, and the Flyers were just poop anyway.
Yeah.
How you lose 2 game 7s in the same year, 2 different sports, and 2 championships in the same year for 2 different sports. Anywho, um, yeah, that starting rotation is probably the best starting rotation in the league. Now they have a sixth in that starting rotation. So they got a 6-man starting rotation. So who's the odd man out, Miguel? I mean, if you look at it, you would think Nola by ERA, but he's not the odd man out.
I'm probably Turnbull on because he's fairly new to the franchise, and they spent a lot of money on Walker, so they want to get him going. And there still wasn't a straight up answer on why he did not pitch at all in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, we never heard about that. I
There was
do.
a rumor that he did a simulated bullpen session, I think in Arizona, and they were like, nah, but you push out Kimbrel, like I
Well,
don't
I
know.
know I they based on what I was reading and hearing and stuff, they were not going to use him out of the bullpen because of his slow starts. Yesterday he pitched a shutout inning in the beginning in the first inning, but he has slow starts, and that's usually when he ends up giving up his runs are early in games. So you put him in the bullpen, bring him into a game, he has a slow start, he's losing your lead.
Yeah.
And then they usually, correct me if I'm wrong, please. They usually shorten their rotation to what, 3 guys?
Well, it always depends on how the series goes and who pitches the last week of the season. So it's like, you know, but yeah, essentially, in a 3 game series, like the first round, the 3 game series, you're pretty much going with a 2 man rotation, three maybe three.
Mhm.
Um, but the way it's been working, it's like it usually lines up once you get to the NLC. If you get to the NLC, yeah, so it usually lines up.
Well, hit us up. Let us know what you think. The number is 669-275-0548. We are going to move on to something I don't really want to move on to.
We could skip it.
No, I want to talk. I want to talk about it. I need my fans, not my fans, but my fellow Sixer fans to. I don't have fans. I need my fellow Sixers fans. I need embracement. My fellow Sixers fans. Um, Sixers went down 3 games to 1 yesterday after losing to the Knicks by 5. In a game that most people feel like they should have won the game. Um, I'm not going to get into the schematics of Embiid's fourth quarter. He stunk in the fourth quarter. Just put it like that. The whole team stunk in the fourth quarter, but when your best player stinks in the fourth quarter, it's going to magnify it. Played the whole second half against somebody and somebody undersized. So he played like the whole fourth quarter against somebody undersized. Miguel, let me add fuel to your Embiid fire. Okay, the Knicks center, I think his name is Matt Hartenstein or something like that, right?
Bless you,
Thank you,
Isaiah Hartenstein.
Isaiah Hartenstein. Bless you. He committed all five of you get six in the NBA, but he committed 5 fouls, all in the third quarter. I think all of them were on Embiid. Embiid was cooking him. Like he can't really handle Embiid. It is what it is. They took him out after his fifth foul. Third quarter. They put in, I want to say it was Precious Achua.
Hold up, there's a male named Precious.
Yes. He is, I believe he is Nigerian. I believe he plays for the Nigerian national team. Um, yes, he is I believe he's African. He's Nigerian. First name is Precious. Yes.
Continue.
My dad is enjoying this conversation right now because he called me one day and said, "There's a guy named Precious." Yes, his name is Precious. People always associate that word precious with like women and feminineness, but there are
My
just precious gems, precious metals, precious planes.
my daughter-in-law's name is Precious.
There was a girl in a movie named Precious. I didn't see that movie anyway. Um, I think Precious Achua was 6'8". I'm thinking barbecue chicken. And B been using his other cat all day. Barbecue chicken. And B ended up being the barbecue chicken. So disappointed in this team yesterday. Disappointed in this team's playoff run. And I know there's a lot of new moving parts. Like people's gonna have these a lot of new moving parts. And B wasn't playing when they made this trade for all these guys. And the team, I don't know if you could really make the team any better. To be honest, I got to be honest. I mean, of course, if you had like all the best, I don't think you can make this team. And I think they have all the pieces that I can't think of what they don't have. Somebody might say they don't have a shooter. Well, that's what Buddy Hield was supposed to be. He just don't shoot the ball. I believe they have everything they need, personally. I really do.
You know when I stopped watching the Sixers? When they chose Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler. That's the last time I
I was
watched the
talking to
Sixers.
somebody just yesterday, and we were talking about that, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris. And I said, you know what? After yesterday's game, and I was probably a little, in my feels. I said, you know what? I said the Sixers probably would have been better today if they had Ben Simmons.
Shut your face.
Listen, I don't think he could have been any worse.
Which is true, and he wouldn't be playing like he is now.
I mean, at least Ben Simmons going to grab you some rebounds.
From the
You know, I
bench?
didn't watch the game. These New York Knickerbockers,
Ooh, that was close. That was close.
these New York Knickerbockers are grabbing all types of rebounds all over these. I mean, it's frustrating to watch. It's frustrating to see. Josh Hart, Villanova grad, won the championship with Villanova a few years back.
I'm sorry, did you say that the Sixers lack heart?
No, I didn't,
Oh,
but I
sorry.
should have. Josh Hart, 6'4", had double-digit rebounds yesterday. Couldn't score, but he had double-digit rebounds yesterday. And technically, he would be considered one of the smaller guys on the court. Double-digit rebound. How does that happen? It didn't happen in the game where the Sixers won, but it happened in every doggone game in the Sixers lost. They just getting punished on the boards. And this comment right here, your brother. I don't like how the Knicks took over the stadium. That's what we do. Yeah, we got a taste of our own medicine these last two games.
Okay, but why did Sixers fans not come to the game?
Because they sold their tickets.
Why would they sell their tickets?
So let me give you my theory on it. Two theories. I feel like because I thought yesterday was going to be different. I did not expect Knicks fans to dominate the crowd the way they did yesterday. I wasn't expecting it on game 3, but it happened. My theory was Sixers fans saw the product that was out there in New York and said, "You know what? I'm not going to watch this. I'm selling these. I'm gonna put these tickets on the market. I'm selling them." Now it just so happened that Knicks fans bought these tickets and made it Madison Square Garden South. My other theory is the ticket resale market is crazy.
Dude, it's freaking popping.
You can make a lot of money in the ticket resale market. So
Hello.
I was listening to the radio, I'm going to say last Friday. I think it was. Yeah, last Friday. I was listening to the radio last Friday, and they were talking about how they were basically calling people that was selling their season tickets crumb bums. Basically, that's kind of what that's basically what they were saying, right?
Crumb bums like Frank Rizzo, really?
Yeah, that's the first thing came in my head. So,
Crumb bum.
but then a season ticket holder called. He sold 6 tickets. He sold 6 tickets.
And that's like at least 75% above face.
I want to say he said he came up. I could be getting this wrong. $2,000-$3,000. I'll be honest with you. Now I'm a season ticket. I'm not a season ticket. If I'm a season ticket holder, I'm probably going to the game, right? But if I know, look, I don't feel like going, and I know I can probably get a couple $1,000s for this ticket right here.
But also it's the product. Like why what about the product on the field? You know what I mean? Or on the court.
Well, the product has been lacking, but I kind of thought after game 3, because they looked really good in game 3. They look second half, they looked really good. I didn't expect game 4 to look the way it did because the way they looked in game 3.
All of a sudden.
And you know what's funny though? Here's the funny part about it. The New York fans took over the Wells Fargo Center the way Eagles fans take over every stadium they go to. I was watching the Phillies game. I want to say Friday or Saturday. They're in San Diego. I'm hearing Eagles chants in the crowd. EAGLES in the crowd in San Diego. Yet we here at home letting these New York Knicks fans. And here's another. This last I'm gonna say about it because this bothered me, right? But then I had to think about it like maybe this is where they wanted to sit, right? But this bothered me. Look at me, Sixers ownership. Look at me right now. How in the hell does John Starks get better seats than Dr. J and Allen Iverson? How do you let that happen? How does John Starks get better seats to the Sixers game in Philadelphia than Allen Iverson and Dr. J?
Because your owner is John Harris and he owns all the rivals.
Yo, he owns like all the sports in the Mid-Atlantic region.
Jersey Devils, Washington Pendejos, Commodores.
There's a soccer team that they own.
Isn't it the New York Red Bulls or some crap like? Doesn't he own?
No, they own over in Europe. They own the soccer team.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, the Jersey Devils, the Sixers, the Washington Commanders, and maybe it was that soccer team. Maybe it's that soccer team. Yeah, man. But this guy right here, that's a nice ring you got on. So after game one, I was looking at Embiid when he was fouled or whatever. He was on the floor, and I was looking at him. I said, "Yo, this dude don't look healthy." Like, and I didn't mean like his knee didn't look healthy. I meant like physically, to me, he didn't look right. Like he just looked like maybe he was still like might have been losing a little weight too. I don't know, whatever. But to find out that he had Bell's palsy, came down with Bell's palsy. All I'm gonna say is, because you've brought it up many times on the show, all I'm gonna say is this guy's snake bit. He's snake bit. Anytime playoffs happen, he's injured or so. And not even every time that he's been injured around the playoffs, it hasn't been. If Markelle Fultz doesn't take his big old rock head, bonk adventure head and smash it into Embiid's face, Embiid doesn't have a broken orbital eye socket or whatever it was, and maybe those playoffs are different, right?
But go ahead.
If Embiid is not in the game longer than he really needed to be against Toronto last year or 2 years or whatever it was, he doesn't get elbowed in the face in that same orbital eye socket or whatever the case may be. If I don't even know how you get Bell's palsy. Like, how do you get Bell's palsy? I don't know. But he comes down, he has this virus, and this virus just has to run its course.
But do you ever know?
What the hell?
Do you ever notice, like, this is not the first time that this has happened, right? This virus. The same year that they lost to Toronto, I believe he had, quote unquote, a stomach virus 5 times in the span of like 3 or 4 months. That's almost physically impossible. And remember, you know what they blamed it on?
What?
Chick-fil-A. He was addicted to Chick-fil-A sandwiches and the milkshakes. And, a big guy like him.
Well, and like he could leave the stadium, drive 5 minutes down the road, he's at a Chick-fil-A.
Right.
So I used to go on my lunch breaks. I would go to Chick-fil-A when I was working on it. It was right down the road. Just had to pass the strip club, and then you'll be there, right by the IKEA. Yeah, it was a strip club down there. It was Onyx.
There's like 12 of them down there.
It was Onyx at the time. Well, I'm talking about with the one you pass on your way to between the stadium and
on Delaware, or the one on Packer?
Delaware.
Delaware.
It's yeah, because the other ones that you're talking about, you don't pass those until you pass Chick-fil-A. So it was Onyx what was it? Rick? Was it Rick's? Rick's Cabaret. Why do I know this? Because I used to pass it when I go into Chick-fil-A. So don't y'all be out here acting like I'm at the strip club. I ain't got money to be going to strip club. So your brother's putting some comments in there. If y'all got any comments of what we talking about, hit us up. 665. Excuse me. Let me just read this real quick. Bell's palsy can be due to simply sleeping next to a fan, AC, or heater. Really? Is that true? Is that true, or is he just trying to? Is he messing with us?
I have no idea.
I'm going to see because that's your brother, so I don't know if he's messing with us or because I know like you that sound like something you would say to mess with people, but he might be telling the truth.
Well, he has the flu too, which is why he's not calling in. So I don't know.
I hope you get better, brother Gerardo. Hope you get better. 200,000 cases per year of Bell's palsy. He said it's
Yeah,
true.
but I had a friend of mine from my last church. She actually she had it. She's always had it, but it got worse as she got older. But
That's
it
what
was
that guy. I forgot his name. I think it's Jim something.
Jim Ross.
Jim
We got
Ross.
ourselves a slobber
Yeah,
knocker.
yeah, he's got that.
Yeah, and he had that like he was diagnosed early, but you started to see it and you started to physically see it and hear it probably around like when he went to WWE in like the late 1990s, early 2000s.
Yeah, there was one time that he just came back and he said he had a stroke and one side of his face was just paralyzed.
One, I think Stone Cold Steve Austin said a joke about him having a stroke on one side of his face.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, it was a poorly timed joke.
My bad. I thought my bad. Or he said your brother said he also suffered a stroke.
Yeah, later when he got older.
So we going but y'all can still answer the question I asked early in the show for those that just getting in here with us about the Sixers. Are the Sixers? There's a two-part question. Are the Sixers done in these playoffs? They're down 3 games to 1 on their way to New York to play the Knicks. And then elimination game 5. Is it a gentleman's sweep? Are they done? Second part to that question is it time to blow it up? I say no. I said I was going to say this earlier. I say no, it's not time to blow it up. And I say it's not time to blow it up because you have a new coach in here. Now he might want to blow some things up because he's a new coach. You got to get his guys in there, guys he wants in there. But when I say blow it, I'm talking about get rid of Max, get rid of Embiid, get rid of anything that brings you anything, and restart the what was it called? The process. Is that what they used to call it? The process.
Mm-hmm.
Process and restart the process. I am not prepared to go back to the process, Miguel. I watched during the process because I'm a fan. I'm not ready or prepared. I do not want to go back to that right now.
So so would you say that it's a failure?
The process?
Mm-hmm.
I can't say the process is a failure until they blow the team up.
So I agree. You don't have to blow it up, but I think this is where I think the Phillies messed up too. You could have got something for Hoskins. And I think it is time to trade Embiid. I think you can trade Embiid, get something of value for him now before it's too late. And then work with what you got from there. Sometimes less is more.
I mean, listen. I'm probably not trading Embiid until Embiid asks for a trade.
Why?
Like, think what are you going to get for him? Once you trade him, you're back. You're back in the process. What are you going to get for Embiid?
But just let him walk.
No, I'm not saying just let him walk. I mean, he's the only one that's actually still in the contract for next year. The only one. Everybody else still got to get signed. So there might be some type of blow up situation. I'll tell you right now who's not coming back. Tobias Harris is more than likely not coming back unless it's some type of team friendly discounted deal, right? Buddy Hield is probably not coming back. Okay, he probably wouldn't. They probably will not sign him back. He can't even get playoff minutes right now. Kelly Oubre Jr. I hope he's back. I want Kelly Oubre Jr. back on this team. Tyrese Maxey, they better bring him back. They better bring Tyrese Maxey back. He's an all star. Doesn't make sense to not have him, right? Outside of that, outside of Oubre, Maxey, and Embiid, trying to think, is there anybody else? Some of the younger guys, Council. Yeah, I would like to see Council there. Melton, I would like to see Melton there, but he's been hurt a lot. Council, I bring back Council because he's young and he might be something. But outside of that, man, hey, I mean, Lowry's getting older. I kind of like Kyle Lowry on this team to be honest with you. But I don't know what he's going to cost. I don't know if he even wants to be in Philly. You know what I mean? He didn't make it to the NBA just to come back home. So Embiid, Maxey, Council, Oubre. That's where I'm going.
So number one, Sixers are done.
Okay.
Number two, you got to trade Embiid. You can keep everybody else. You got to trade Embiid. You got to get something.
I mean, but he's not coming up on free agency, so it's not like you got to trade him now.
No, it's time, especially when you know his history.
So, okay, let me ask you this.
And every athlete that starts to focus on the fans, and I get it that he was responding to a question that was asked, but this is the difference between a professional and somebody that's mature. When Nick Nurse was asked about the fans and all that, so he's like, "Yeah, well, we're trying to play the game on the court. We're trying to do what's best for the team to win." But Embiid kind of went on about, "Oh yeah, I was pissed off, and you don't want to hear like it's the Garden and stuff like that." That means mentally you're not tough enough to block that out and overcome. You're thinking about the fans. You know what I mean? You got to be mentally tough to play for New York, Boston, Philly. You got to be mentally tough on the outside as well as the inside. That's why players like Andy Ashby couldn't play here. Even though Ricky Waters did wind up running for a couple thousand yards, he still gets bashed about the for who for what comment. Like people just don't forget about that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like if you don't have the heart to play here, then keep the fans' name out your
mouth. And you say that, but you prefaced it. I know he's responding to a question he was asked. But here's so I agree with you. I agree with what you just said. And as you were saying, I was just thinking about everything you talking about how it's tough to play in Philly, right? Like you have to be tough skinned to play in Philly. Mm-hmm. He was playing in Philly yesterday and in game 3. They were playing in Philly, but they weren't in front of Philly fans. And it's gotta be, and you gotta be tough, right? But it's gotta be frustrating or disappointing. It's gotta be disappointing to you play in Philly. You know what the Philly crowd brings. Mm-hmm. You play 2 games on the road in a hostile environment, and you coming home to your people. And then when the game starts, your people ain't there.
You want to know why they weren't there? Because your asses didn't show up in game 1 and 2.
Now, while you are 100% correct, this is the only time another team has taken over the crowd in Philly. Now, there's been times where it's been like You can hear the other fans in there. This is the
Yeah.
only time that this has happened. They played Brooklyn. They played Boston. Boston whooping they behind. People still came when they were playing Boston.
Mhm.
People still came when whatever the case. People still showed up. But for whatever reason, in this one, maybe they're fed up. They ain't show up.
How many years did we see Phillies Mets and you see when the Mets were kind of winning and stuff like that and the Phillies weren't,
I
you
was
know.
at one of those games when the Mets was winning, the Phillies weren't, and I was at one of those games, and the Mets definitely took over. However, it was a regular season game.
Mhm.
It wasn't a playoff game. I personally was disappointed in the Philly crowd in these last two games. Matter of fact,
Right.
now I think about it, Charles Barkley said something about it at halftime of Game 3 about the crowd being so heavily New York.
But like nobody saw the first two games. Like again, why would you pay for that?
So yeah, listen. All right, let me ask you this:
Yes, I would trade him.
how much of the Eagles' last playoff game were you able to watch?
Um, I think I was done after the fourth missed tackle in the first drive.
So you turned the game on, is what you're telling me. You actually watched.
Hmm.
You actually wanted to watch that game, although you saw the last 10 games that they had played previously.
Right.
You still wanted to watch the playoff game.
Right, but here's the thing: if we're talking about watching on TV versus going to a stadium where I'm paying $50 for parking, where I'm paying $700 for a soda and a pretzel, and you know what I mean? Like,
Let me stop you one real quick. If you're a season ticket holder, those they're already paid for. You
no,
don't.
I understood, but you still got to pay for the parking. You still have to pay for
No,
the
no,
food.
parking is paid for when you get.
Oh, that's
Well,
right, because you can get that
some
with the
people,
park. I got you. I got you. I got you. I always
yeah, you
forget
get a
about.
parking pass with that.
I always forget about that. So then, yeah, it's a waste of an afternoon, I guess. I've
Oh,
never been. I've never been blessed and rich enough to have season tickets, so I don't know what that life is like.
me either. Me either. I've never been there. I thought about getting them I thought about getting them, and I was like, yeah, you got to pay them for monthly, and all. Like, no, I'm good.
I just didn't feel like taking out. I just didn't feel like taking out a second mortgage.
I almost so you can get cheaper tickets for season tickets, but like I don't want to I don't want to have to go up into the nosebleeds every single doggone time I'm going to a game. I want to at
But
least be surprised with a close seat one time.
but it kind of works out better when you go and just buy like the tickets on StubHub because I mean yeah they're above
Sometimes, yeah,
market value, but you can sometimes negotiate the ticket.
absolutely. Sometimes you can, and sometimes the closer the game time,
Right.
you'll sit here close to the game time, and you
I
get
had
them cheap. People just
I,
trying
re-
to
I, re- I
money.
remember one time I had to get rid of flyer tickets. I was getting ready to go to a game and something happened at the last minute. And I was like, let me go three times what I saw. And they sold within like 10 minutes. I was like, sweet.
Wow. All right. Well, that's all. I didn't really mean to spend so much time on the doggone Sixers, but
Yes,
it
you did.
hits an emotional spot for me.
Yeah.
I'm a diehard Sixers fan. It is what it is. I know Miguel is not, but I am. It is what it
I'm a
is.
diehard Philly fan. When the Sixers do well and do the right things, when the Flyers do well and do the right things,
Yeah,
the
but see,
Sixers they just don't.
if they're doing well, they're probably doing the right things.
Right, but it's the heart thing, man. It's like when you do the right things in the regular season and you don't show up in the playoffs.
It's frustrating. It's
Hmm.
frustrating. And that was the Eagles almost every year until they won the Super Bowl. But we still liked them. We still came back. We were still on the bandwagon. It is what it
I
is.
I Iverson needs a bigger statue.
Oh, So in that defense, I'm being told all the statues are that size, but because that's the practice facility, it's not like the one that's Wilt Chamberlain and Dr. J or whatever.
Mhm.
Brother said, "Would you buy tickets for the Packers Eagles game in Brazil?" Yeah, I would if I had that kind of money and really wanted to go that bad. I would definitely do it. I would definitely do it.
Yeah, me too.
So your brother going in with the comment. I can't put all the comments in there. He's going in with the comment.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So real quick, Eagles. I think we. I don't know if we didn't mention it last week, right? AJ Brown extended for 3 years. We mentioned Devontae Smith last week.
There was
Three,
Devontae Smith last week, and then AJ Brown was extended late last week. So
yeah, three years. 3 year, $69 million extension.
96.
What did I say? 69.
Yeah, get your head out of the gutter.
I must be some type of freak bull. AJ Brown extended 3 years, $96 million. Extended for 3 years, $96 million. I don't know how much he had left on his contract. That how much did he
Wait,
have left?
he had like a year left, and I think the genius always does it. He'll put more guarantee money if you take more of the money as a signing bonus, so it doesn't hit the cap. It hits the cap different, less dead money, all that garbage. But I believe the extension, 86 million is guaranteed out of the 96. So
Okay. Um, man, somebody guarantee me some of that money, please. I could use just a little bit. Excuse me. All right, where's my other? My mouth is dry. Just talking. Excuse me. Okay. Um, the Eagles, their draft. Now, like I said earlier, hit us up. Let us know how your team's draft went. Like I said last week, I don't pay attention as much to college football as I used to. There was a time I would have known like damn near every person that got drafted. Those days are not of my elk anymore. However, number 22 overall, first round, the Eagles selected Quinyon Mitchell, cornerback out of Toledo. I was shocked. I just knew it was going to be a lineman that I never heard of. That was probably big and brolic and threw people around. But it was a corner. So I was shocked and I'm also a little nervous because the Eagles selected him. And I'm like, I mean, people saying like he was the best, the best corner in the draft. Which okay, great.
one of
Eagles selected him, so I'm just like, what's the catch? What's the catch? Let me know. Um, they got Cooper DeJean. Is it DeJean or DeJean?
the John, the Jane, the Jane.
Oh,
Just
him.
call him Cooper White.
Okay.
He's the white.
And then they got Jalix Hunt. They Ana- Ananias. Is it Ananias Smith?
Ionized Smith. Yeah.
Ionized Smith. Okay. You don't want to know where I was about to go because let me slow down.
And go to the next picture before you announce the next name.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting that you can't do that from your end. And then they drafted. You see that little kid in there with the little Eagles hat on? They drafted that kid right there. But he's actually the kid on the left in the orange and the Clemson uniform that went to St. Joe's Prep. They drafted Jeremiah Trotter Jr., linebacker out of Clemson, in the fifth round. They had three picks in the fifth round. So shout out to the Axeman Jr. I hope you're as good as your daddy, and if you're not as good as your daddy, I hope you're better. The rest of the picks there you see right there on the screen. Trayvon Keegan, guard out of Michigan, Johnny Wilson, wide receiver out of Florida State, and Dylan McMahon, center out of North Carolina State. 2 6-round picks, 3 5th-round picks, a 1, a 2, and a 3. So that's what they did in the draft. Now, let's talk about this real quick. Roger Goodell is talking about making an 18-game season. He moved it from 16 to 17. Now he's talking about taking from 17 to 18 and having Super Bowl weekend be President's Day weekend. Miguel, I'm good with half of that. I'm good with the Super Bowl weekend being on President's Day weekend because we get a day off. We should have a day off after the Super Bowl anyway.
It should be a national holiday.
Should be a national holiday. We should get the day off. Everybody is partying or staying up late or eating stuff they don't need to be eating or drinking stuff they don't need to be drinking or whatever they doing that they don't need to be doing. It should be a national holiday. Oh, what is going on here? Was I supposed to put that up there?
Absolutely. It's the Roger Goodell segment.
Okay.
This is to pay an homage for his horrible way of pronouncing. He's been slurring his words a lot the last couple drafts. If you haven't
No,
noticed,
I did not watch the draft this year. Only watched the Eagles. Actually, when I turned it on, because it was Friday night, I think the Sixers played. I think it was the game they won.
hmm
And then I went upstairs, turned on. I was like, oh, the draft is on. I think the Steelers picked, then the Dolphins picked, and then the Eagles picked, and then I was done. I didn't see any more of the draft the entire weekend.
yeah. Um,
To to go back to what you said. No, I didn't hear him slurring. I didn't know that was happening.
I think the 18 games is inevitable, but I do like the fact that he he addressed that. I think when he was asked in front of a crowd, I can't remember what show, but he was saying how he's not a big fan of the preseason and he wouldn't mind having less preseason games. So it would basically be 2 games preseason and then 18 for the regular season. And it's kind of assumed that there will be a second bye. So now every team will, have the second bye even going into the playoffs. So you have 2 byes in the season, 1 in the playoffs. So you could spread it out or just start the season later and just keep it at 17. But what the hell do I know? But I mean, football's a unique game in that it's like there's so much hype because it's only one game a week. It's like you talk about it 3 days before, and then you talk about it 4 days after, and you do the Monday morning quarterback thing, and then it's on to the next week. So it's like you're constantly engaged because you're celebrating the thrill of victory or you're agonizing over the agony of defeat. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know,
Mhm.
football is that special dynamic above all the sports. So
It's like I said earlier, it's so condensed in the 16, 17, 18 games, whatever it is going to be. That's why you get so many reactions when the Sixers their season off hot or cold. The Phillies start their season off hot or cold because there's that football aspect of we need to win now.
right.
Every game is so important. Where baseball, basketball, hockey, every game is not as important as it is in football. Every
I
single game is important in football.
I really wish that I think it was like the year before COVID, and there was a couple of high profile players in baseball. I think it was oh, I can see his face. He was the play. He was on the Cubs. Now he's on the Yankees, the first baseman. But he kind of made a pitch to shorten the season. He's like, we should go back to when it was 144 games and do something different with the playoffs. I think the playoff format would actually work better in baseball than it would in any other sport. You know what I mean? Because now that you got gambling involved, you'll have that money coming in. Um, and I think it'll be a little bit more interesting to watch. I'm seeing some of the numbers that baseball's kind of got an uptick since they've added the pitch clock, and I think the one game I had sent you a text. The Rangers scored a shutout, 2 hours and 1 minute was
Yeah,
that game. You know what I mean? So
we had a shutout the other night too.
I think it's just a matter of time before finally we get back to caring about batting average and stolen bases and holy crap, the bunt. You know what I mean? So, um,
Oh, shout out to I'm sorry, I got to put a pin in that. Shout out to the Delaware County Community College baseball team today. They scored like 12 runs off bunts today.
sweet. You see,
And that's
even at the
all I'll say about the game. I'll just leave it on a positive note.
you see how buns can change everything. But
And let me tell you, there was a kid on the other team that may have blown his ACL trying to field the bunt.
I could see that happening if you're not trained on it.
For sure. And then the umpires called the ball dead.
Didn't that happen to you before? There was an injury on the field, and instead of going with the play, they just called it dead.
Yes. Yes. That did happen to me before. Yep. Yep. For sure. Star Wars 99 says, let's go Phillies. We better hit Canning. Let's do it. Let's see. During the year of the strike, NBA and NHL, that was the most competitive season ever.
They were strike shortened seasons.
So it's funny because, like, I'm thinking, was it 99? Was that the NBA strike? There were people that were like, the Spurs only won because it was a strike. Because the Spurs won the championship day. They beat the Knicks in the championship that year. That strike shortened season. That
But
was the
then they
year
went.
after.
Didn't they win like 6 champions? I think wasn't
That was like the beginning of their run.
Right, but their run was kind of weird because I don't did they not they were one of the franchises that won a lot of championships, but they didn't win many back to back, correct?
They didn't win any back to back.
Right.
Yeah,
And I think because Tim Duncan was the star and he was kind of like the Mike Trout, if you will, like not like in the commercials or anything like that. He just and he played defense. I think that's part of the reason why he didn't have such like I guess sex appeal in the NBA.
Yeah, he was like what they call him, Mr. Personality or something like that. I mean, like even now, like he's a coach and he's not a flashy dresser and he's just a regular cat.
Yeah.
Regular dude. But yeah, the that strike shortened season. And I used to like the Spurs. This is why this came up. Strike shortened season, Spurs win the championship. And they're like, yeah, well, Spurs only won because it was a strike shortened season. I'm like, well, this season was short for every team in the NBA.
Right.
So anybody could have won. You trying to tell me the Spurs had a special advantage because of the strike? Like, come on, man. That doesn't make any sense. So you're also telling me the Knicks only went to the finals because of the strike shortened season? That was the year they had Latrell Sprewell and all like that. Come on, man. I hate when people say that type of stupid stuff. It only because everybody had the same exact opportunities. We have something today. Miguel has come up with something. Can you hear that, Miguel? I'm hoping I can. Let me see. That's about as loud as I can make it, Miguel.
That's cool.
We have a big dummy today. We haven't had a big dummy in a while, but we have a big dummy today. Miguel, you wanna introduce it? You wanna tell us what it is?
The big dummy of the week or of the year is local here in Baltimore.
This happened in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big dummy award goes to Dazan Darian, who is facing charges that includes theft, stalking, disruption of school operations, and retaliation against the witness. This man purchased AI voice synthesis software, and he has allegedly used artificial intelligence to impersonate a school principal in a recording that included racist and anti-Semitic comments about individuals at the school and passed it out to everyone he knows. Now, the backstory is that the principal and he's an athletic director. Dazan Darian is an athletic director at Pikesville High School. So the backstory is that the principal, whose voice he emulated, named Eric ice words, um, he was able to take his voice and layer it. He put in AC noise, outdoor noise, birds chirping. Like he wanted to make this sound like an authentic recording. But the FBI audio forensics actually picked up that there was discrepancies in the audio. That's how they knew that the audio was edited. So he actually paid for the AI generated voice software from several personal accounts. So um, the investigators determined that he faked the principal's voice, circulated the audio on social media in January. Darian's nickname, DJ, was among the names mentioned in the audio clips he allegedly faked, according to the Baltimore County State's Attorney's Office. And he tried to make a great escape by being caught on an airplane headed for Texas.
Yo.
You know what's scary about all this, though? On the real, like, dude, artificial intelligence is scary. I don't know if you saw, there was a thing on YouTube that I saw Monday of last week or Tuesday. It showed a conversation between Will Smith and Chris Rock, and they were talking about the incident, but it was completely AI generated. I'll send you the link to it. It looked exactly like Will Smith. He was dressed in a Men in Black suit. It had Chris Rock. He was just wearing a sweater with his earring, and it was just a generic conversation. And it was it was neither one of them. That's the scary thing. I was watching another thing because I'm doing training on AI at my place of work, and there was a gentleman that was demonstrating how accurate AI is, and he's like, "I'm going to show you how accurate this." So he actually put a video or a motion video of himself side by side, like you and I are, right? And he literally was like, "Okay, I want you to explain the theory of relativity in two ways. I want you to explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old, and then I want you to explain it like a episode of Seinfeld." And his AI version actually did it absolutely perfectly. Wow. That's how scary AI is.
I personally don't find it scary. I think it can be. I think it can be scary.
It can be, because like I could literally like pose as you and then post it on my social media and be like, "Oh, hey, here I am. I'm the bedwetter." You know what I mean?
Right.
And
it can be very detrimental. It can be used for a lot of non-good. But I think, like you said, you're learning more about it at your place of employment. I think that's what it's going to take for people to fully embrace it. And I think that I think that in due time, I mean, it's probably going to improve over time as well. But I think in due time we'll be able to like really be able to pick. Like a lot of times you can pick out AI. Like I can pick out a lot of AI stuff. But some is really good, and it's hard to really determine. But I think it's going to be kind of like when you watch a movie. Trying to think like a movie that was like full of special effects in the 90s, but you in the 90s you might have watched it like when you watch RoboCop when it came out. Whoa, look at that big robot, whatever the thing was called. You watch it now, you're like, yeah, that looks so doggone fake.
It's like, hey, there's the guy that threw the thing. Like, seriously?
Yeah. So I'm thinking, of course, everything improves, but I think as we learn more about it, I think we'll be able to pick that stuff out.
Yeah, and there's already software like the FBI was able to, you know,
Right.
see where the discrepancies were in the audio because you have audio forensics. But to the layperson, yeah, it's not gonna, it's gonna be wow, that's authentic. You know what I mean? Because they originally suspended the principal without pay or with pay pending the investigation, but everybody was on it quick because I mean, people were calling the school, parents were calling the school, students were calling the school. They're like, "How dare you? This, and that," and they're ready to kill this man before the end of the school day. And you know what I mean?
Everybody owes that man an apology until he gets caught actually doing it.
Right. Right. But like how vindictive do you have to be to I mean, this is pretty elaborate. Like you took the time out, you paid money out of your pocket. And this all stems from him and the principal did not get along because he actually fired somebody without the authority of the principal. And it was a very popular coach. They haven't named who that coach was, but apparently the athletic director was like, I just took care of it, and there's certain policies he just kind of went past, and he was actually recommended for termination because in the school districts it's done a little different. He was recommended for termination to the school board, um, and he came up with this elaborate scheme and tried to escape via Southwest Airlines, and tried to head out to
Oh man,
Texas.
my man was headed to Texas like a fugitive. I can't- my man was headed to Texas like, yo, I got to get out of here. He's probably going to walk across the border. He's going to be the only one going into Mexico, walking across
Right.
the border.
Yeah, there was also there was also some fraud that he was being investigated for as well. So that the firing was the thing that kind of started it off, and then investigations led him to fraud. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. Man, but we covered quite a bit today.
I think we did.
We covered quite a bit. I think we covered enough to say we'll leave y'all with all that until we start covering more stuff next week.
Yeah, to the people of Baltimore, be careful switching lanes out there, and if you see the kid that I saw that ran into my wife that looks uncircumcised from the neck up, you know, give him a pound for me.
You said that a little better the first time.
I'm tired. I'm running on fumes right now. So.
You had to like gather yourself this time. Make it not awkward.
Oh man.
First time you said it a little better. We'll just leave it at that. Look, we hold on. Let me just see these last few comments. Oh, okay. I see. Okay. And yeah, your brother wants to know what happened, so you can hit him up a little bit later, or he can rewind the show.
Yeah, start from watch the beginning of the show. I mentioned it in the first 5 minutes, and for the record, everybody's fine.
All right, you hear that? All right. So look, we're gonna get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us here on the Check Swing Podcast here on New Twist Radio. If you are new to the show, please share out the link with your friends and families and your enemies and your neighbors and all that good stuff. And make sure you hit the subscribe button to the New Twist Radio YouTube channel over there. You can see all of the shows that we have done live and recorded. But on the live tab is where all the live shows are. You can see Check Swing Podcast, Intelligent Ignorant, 10-7, and all the shows that we've done in the past. A lot of content there for you guys to consume. And check out some of our OJ stuff too. I'm talking about OJ Simpson, y'all. All right, for those that may not know. But with that being said, we're going to get up. Your brother crazy. With that being said, we're going to get up out of here.
In the head, sick.
We'll talk to y'all next time here on the Check Swing Podcast. Peace out, y'all.